Basi leo mkuu, raundi ingine na kama hivyo.
Hello everyone, and welcome back to another exciting episode. I'm somewhere in the interior parts of Kangemi, but there's a neighborhood on the other side of the river that goes by the name Kawangware. That's our destination today. In fact, the hood is very visible from where I sit. I hope you can see it too. And as you can see, the road is quite steep. I'm sure I'm going towards the river. That's obvious. And I'm told that the river serves as the boundary between Kangemi and Kawangware estate. So today's video is quite special. I'm doing a special one for my followers because I'm doing zero to no editing. I'll be posting the entire raw footage of Kawangware from point A to point Z. That means that by the end of this video, you will know Kawangware like the palm of your hand, or like a person who was born here, regardless of whether or not you have been here. So Kawangware is just a small place in terms of size. In fact, it measures about 11.1 kilometers squared. That's about 3 point something kilometers in terms of length and 3 point something kilometers in terms of width, assuming that Kawangware area is a square. But this is one of the most populated neighborhoods in Nairobi, despite its small size. In fact, according to the Kenyan Bureau of Statistics, Kawangware area has a total population of 291,565 people living in an area of about 11.1 kilometers squared. Well, that's super crazy. I expect to see one of the highest population density in the country, which is estimated at 26,367 people living in a square kilometer. Of course, we're going to talk more about the numbers in a few. There is a lot of interesting statistics about Kawangware. So stick around, we are just starting. In fact, I'm told that we are around Kanungaga village in Kawangware, which is the doorway to the neighborhood. Well, for those who understand the local dialect, Kanungaga means the place that stinks. I don't know how the name came to be. It's something that I would love to know. I don't know whether the place literally stinks, although I can't distinguish any bad smell. Or maybe that was the case a long time ago, since this is not a new area. But I would like those who come from this area, I know a lot of them, my regular viewers. It is only that I can't name you, since the list is quite long. But kindly inform us right on the comment section below. Tell us the source of the name Kanungaga, and we will appreciate. Well, as if that was not enough, we are entering another small area of Kawangware called Gatina, which also is not a fancy name. In fact, this one in Kikuyu language means a human's bottom, just for lack of a better word. And so the entire village is commonly known as Gatina Kanungaga, which translates to the stinking bottoms. Well, that's crazy, but I did warn you. This is going to be interesting. We are just starting. So fasten your seatbelt and subscribe to our YouTube channel, Village to Town TV, if you are new here, as this is the channel that is dedicated to continue showcasing beautiful villages, towns, and cities across the continent of Africa. Well, the weather is quite dull, but it's a beautiful day. I can see everyone is going about their business, like this gentleman right in front of me, pushing a cart. Super hardworking Kenyans. And the place is quite crowded. You can easily tell that. You don't need to be a rocket scientist to observe that. It seems like everywhere is occupied and every space next to the road is a business. And of course, there's a lot of good things that comes with such population. And one of them is high business opportunities. You just need to start selling anything and boom, you have a ready market right on your doorstep. Like for instance, I can see tens of people selling shoes right next to the road. Others are on the garbage collection businesses. And all I can assure you is that all these are money-making ventures as long as the traffic is high. Well, the same is also the case for the real estate industry. We'll be checking that in a few. But you can imagine building rentals in this place. And I'm sure you will easily find tenants, which is not the case in low densely populated areas. And that means one thing for sure: money. And that can only lead to one conclusion. There's a lot of cool millionaires living in the neighborhood or making their money off the neighborhood, but no one will ever know. Well, let me leave it at that. I don't want to invite the taxman to anyone. And I want to check the numbers quickly, a few of them, as we go around the beautiful neighborhood. In fact, I'm told that we are about to approach a place called Congo, quite popular in Kawangware. We'll get there in a few. And as I told you earlier, the area has a total population of 291,565 people. 145,696 are men, while 144,879 are women. You can see the gender gap is not that big. In fact, it's only 1,000 in favor of men. And of course, the population density is 26,367 people living in a square kilometer. Well, the primary reason for repeating that number, particularly on population density, is that I want you to keep it somewhere because we'll be doing a lot of comparisons, both internally and externally, because there's a lot of interesting facts, especially on population, about Kawangware area. For instance, we are in this area called Gatina. You can call it a village within a village. And its population is that 1,646 people. 16,813 are men, while 14,832 are women. Now leave alone the gender gap, which is about 2,000 in favor of men. The most intriguing part is here. The area has a population density of 40,373 people living in a square kilometer, while the entire area is only about 0.8 kilometers squared. That tells you that the area is just a small portion of Kawangware, but it has one of the highest population in the neighborhood. As you can just imagine, a population density of 40,000 people compared to the population density of the entire Kawangware area, which is 26,367 people living in a square kilometer. There is another area that we'll be entering quite soon. In fact, it is in vicinity, and it goes by the name Congo. I want to check its numbers before we get there. And according to the Kenyan Bureau of Statistics, the area has a total population of that 1,914. 16,356 are men, while 15,557 are women. And so again, the gender gap is about 1,000 in favor of men. Well, one thing that seems to be repeating itself here in Kawangware, as far as the gender number is concerned, is that the number of men tends to be higher than that of their female counterparts, which is not a common thing across the country, as women tend to be more than men in most villages that we visited. Regarding population density, Congo has 45,463 people living in a square kilometer, while the entire area is 0.7 kilometers squared. So it seems like so far, Congo has the highest population density in Kawangware. And although I don't know why the place ended up being called Congo, we all know that Congo is a country, or rather two countries, in the central part of the African continent. We have Congo, Brazzaville, and the Democratic Republic of Congo, and probably a high number of immigrants from this country led this particular area to be called Congo. Of course, I'm not 100% sure about that. So if you have the information, or if you come from this area, you can also tell us on the comment section below, and we will appreciate. And for those who are quite familiar with Kenyan politics, Kawangware is part of Dagoretti North constituency, which is one of the 17 constituencies in Nairobi City. And I'm told that the constituency has 5 wards, which include Kilimani, Kawangware, Gatina, Kileleshwa, and Kabiro. And in case you didn't notice, 3 of those wards are right here in Kawangware. And they are Kawangware, Gatina, and Kabiro. That also tells you that a huge chunk of the Dagoretti North constituency is made of Kawangware. Well, the current MP is a woman that goes by the name Beatrice Elachi, which I find to be quite progressive, a woman MP in the city, elected, not nominated. And that tells a lot about people from this area. They are quite progressive, I must say. But before the lady MP, there was another MP who was quite popular and went by the name Simba Arati, who was known for being a super rough guy back then. The guy really understood and played the city politics. He is now the serving governor of Kisii County in the western part of the country. Well, there is this area called Kabiro, which is also a word in Kawangware, and it has some of the most interesting statistics in the area, as it has a total population of 36,228 people. 18,160 are men, while 18,066 are women. You can see that the number of men and that of women are almost equal, but the place has the most densely population in Kawangware, as there are 46,767 people living in a square kilometer, while the entire area, the total area of Kabiro, is 0.8 kilometers squared. It is also good to know that Kawangware is in the Dagoretti sub-county, which consists of two constituencies, which include the Dagoretti South and the Dagoretti North. And I want to quickly give you the numbers of this sub-county as we go around Kawangware. And according to the Kenyan Bureau of Statistics, the Dagoretti sub-county has a total population of 434,208 people. That is as of 2019. In fact, it used to be one big constituency before it was split right before 2013, although I'm not quite sure about whether Kawangware was part of it. And history goes that long time ago, the Dagoretti area was in Kiambu Old District, so it is part of the larger Kiambu, but it was taken up by Nairobi to make the metropolitan bigger and spacious. And as I just told you, the Dagoretti sub-county has a total population of 434,208 people. That was as of 2019. That's according to the Kenyan Bureau of Statistics, making it one of the most popular sub-counties in the country. And it has one of the fastest growing population in the country. As of 2009, the population was 294,222, meaning that in 10 years, the population increased with about 140,000 people, which is an annual population change of 4%. Well, in terms of the population density, the sub-county has an average of 14,921 people living in a square kilometer, which is quite big, but not as big as that of Kawangware, which I told you was 26,367 people living in a square kilometer. And that means that Kawangware is the epicenter of the entire sub-county as far as population is concerned. Well, in terms of the gender distribution, there's no cause of alarm in the sub-county, as the number of female and that of their male counterparts are almost equal. In fact, there are 217,651 male, representing about 49.9% of the total population, while the number of females is 216,526, representing 50.1% of the total population. And so in short, the gap is so small. In fact, the difference is about 1,000 in favor of women. And in terms of the intersex, they are only 31 in the entire sub-county. Well, I just approached the Muslim area here in Kawangware. It is just a name. It does not mean that the area is segregated along religious lines. And probably the name came from the school that we just passed on my left. Well, the entire Muslim area covers a total of 0.8 kilometers squared and has a total population of 24,672 people. 12,941 are men, while 11,731 are women. And in terms of the households, they are 8,787, while the population density is estimated at 32,779 people living in a square kilometer. Well, this is another densely populated neighborhood here in Kawangware, just like its counterpart of Congo and Gatina. And remember, I told you I'll be taking you around the neighborhood, the entire estate. Well, let's quickly check at the age distribution before we hit our next town. And I realized that the number of the old is quite small, especially when compared to other age groups in the sub-county, as those aged 65 and above only account for 1.2% of the total population. In fact, to put the percentage into perspective, out of the 435,000 people living in the sub-county, only 5,165 people are aged 65 and above. Well, if you were to go deeper into the age groups, those aged 80 and above are only 850. Well, whatever you do with that information is up to you, but it is a critical indication that the city is not friendly to the old-timers, which is quite unfortunate, as you can imagine that those aged 90 and above are only 189 people in the entire sub-county, which has more than 450,000 residents. Well, in case you don't know, I'm almost getting back to Gatina area. I know we were there a few minutes ago, but we just went around. And one thing that is really amazing about this place is that every place looks the same. I don't know whether it's because I'm new here, but I think for any newcomer, it will be quite easy to get lost here. You can see the people's traffic has started to increase again. It seems like there are areas that are more densely populated than others here in Kawangware. And remember, it's only on a Tuesday. I wonder what would happen if it was on a Saturday or on a Sunday. I'm sure the picture will be different. I'm sure people will be all over. Well, I don't know what is happening. I can see a group of young men. I don't know what they are seeking from car owners.
Asile mkuu. Raundi ingine. Na kama hivyo.
That was a bit crazy. Seemed like those guys are fundraising. God knows for what purpose. But I want to turn around a few yards ahead. I want to know what that was all about. I'm sure most of you can't tell that we were right here a few minutes ago. If you can recall, this was around Katina area. And funny enough, I realized the same after getting home. That was after checking the maps. And remember, Nairobi city is not far from here. It's about 10 kilometers to the city center. In fact, most people work there, but tend to live here because commuting is quite easy and affordable. And other surrounding neighborhoods include Kangemi, Uthiru, Dagoretti, and Waithaka. Lavington is also not far from here, which is one of the leafy suburbs in Nairobi, one of the most affluent neighborhoods in the city. In fact, we have a video on that one here on the channel. Well, these boys are still right here. They are at it again. In fact, this guy is so passionate, rapping in the middle of the street. And so, if you somehow know what they are doing, or you are quite familiar with that culture, or you know what they are selling, or what they are fundraising for, kindly inform us on the comment section down below, and we'll appreciate. Well, let me leave it at that. Please continue watching the scenic video until the end. And remember, I told you that today I'll be taking you around the entire Kawangware area without editing any part. So watch until the end. In fact, I'll be driving toward this direction until I hit Naivasha Road, which is the main road connecting the estate, that is Kawangware Estate, with the Nairobi Nakuru Highway. Also consider subscribing to this channel, Village to Town TV, a channel that is dedicated to continue showcasing beautiful villages, towns, and cities across the continent. Also like the video so that it can be recommended to as many people as possible, and smash the notification bell so that every time we post, you'll be among the first few people to be notified. Once again, thanks to Team Village to Town TV, those who watch and like all the videos I post. I appreciate you. Also keep the conversation going. Tell us what do you think about today's video. Will you consider living here in Kawangware? And if you come from this area, drop a fact or two about your neighborhood down on the comment section below and we'll appreciate. Thank you.